Welcome to part 10 of our Dying Light 2 Stay Human Developer Tools Guide. It's time we talk about cutscenes. Let's start with a tool called Sequence Editor. Jump over to the scene window and open our level. Open and set as target. Make your way over to the prefab browser. Find the sequence movie actor. Once you find it, place it on your map. Change to your select tool. Go back to Scene, right-click on the sequence movie actor with your mouse and left-click Create Prefab from Selected. So now we'll be creating our base prefab for our sequence editor. Let's name it Quest Movie. Before we open this prefab, right-click it. Choose Sequence and click on Create Sequence. Name it something like Quest Movie Sequence. Save. With that, we created a sequence and a prefab master, where we can place actors or objects. Open this prefab, set it as target, and extend it. Now we need to plan out what we want to show. In the next tutorial, we're going to create a dialogue with Ader. To capture that, we'll need to create a cutscene where Ader is going to approach two of his men. We'll need 3 actors, but we already have our first one. We can add the remaining 2 from our prefab browser. Take our sequence movie actor and place him on the map 2 more times. Choose the Select tool, readjust them, and have them face the actor who is going to end up as our Ader. Select our first actor, and in the Attributes window, rename him to Ader Sequence. Now go to the field that says Model File. Here we can write the model name. And since this actor will be our Ader, we're going to change it to NPC Ader Model. Press Enter to confirm. There he is. Our character model changed to Ader. Select the second actor, rename him to PK1 Sequence. For his model, we should write PK Heavy Man 1 Model. Select the third actor, rename him to PK2 Sequence. For this model, we'll paste over the same name, only this time we'll change man to woman. To add them to Sequence Editor, first make sure you've opened the sequence. To do that, go back to the scene window, save our prefab, then save our level, and right-click on Quest Movie Sequence. Go to Sequence and open Sequence. After that, our sequence editor will open. We'll need to add our actor. Right-click on this black empty space on the left. Click Create Track and choose our actor. Let's do this twice more to account for the other 2 characters. Select our first actor. Extend the view of the field on the right. Press the 3 dots for Entity, then search for our Ader. Do the same for the others. And click OK. Now we need to lock in their positions. The quickest way will be to activate Animate Mode. Click this lock icon. When it's green, it means that it's active. Move our sequence editor to the side for now. Open our Sequence Master prefab, select our actor. We only need to move 1 gizmo arrow. This will create the keyframes for position, rotation, and scale. These keyframes here mark the starting position for our actor. Do the same with the others. Press Ctrl+S to save it. To add animation for our actors, we can use the Animation track. Sequence Editor can mostly be used for establishing shots or third-person camera angles observing NPCs. Try to recall the cutscenes you watch after you activate a windmill in Dying Light 2 Stay Human. Those were all done in the Sequence Editor. Right-click on the Animation track for our first actor. Add Animation key. From here, we can apply all types of animations to our NPCs. There are a lot of them. Try to find the one from the broadcast quest. The name should be the same as the one you're seeing right now on the screen. We've added our animation to the track. Move it to the beginning of the timeline. Moving this small triangle to the left will remove the blending effect, so the animation can play from the start. Click play to preview it. Not bad, but I think we can make it look even better. Zoom in on our NPC. Activate the animate mode to course correct and rotate him. After we readjust his position, disable animate mode and preview. Looks good. We can now take care of the others. Right-click and add a new animation key for our second Peacekeeper. Search for a different PK animation from the broadcast quest. Move it to the start and remove the blend-in. Click play to preview. Once more, I will enable animate mode. Select my actor and readjust her position. Turn off animate mode, Ctrl+S to save, and preview. Holding Ctrl on your keyboard and scrolling with your mouse at the same time will allow us to zoom in and out of our timeline. I can now see the full length of our cutscene. If we think it's too short, we can move the red cursor to the right. Let's leave it at 8 seconds, so our entire cutscene can last for that long. Zoom out a bit in our viewport to get a better look at Ader, who we will be animating. Right-click on his animation track. This time, we'll choose a different animation. Go with the one that has Outro, Canteen, Main, and Start in its name. Move it to the 0 seconds point, get rid of the blend-in effect, click Stop, and preview. As you can see, we're going to have to make additional changes to ensure Ader isn't colliding with the other actors. Activate animate mode, select our actor, zoom out, and move him further back using our gizmo. Disable animate mode, click play to preview it. The distance is good, but we're going to have to fix his direction. Pause, click animate mode and readjust his rotation. Turn off animate mode and click play to preview. There we go. We can also parent objects to the actor. More specifically, we could attach a crossbow to Ader's back. Move our sequence editor to the left side, go to Prefab Browser, click on Meshes category, look for a crossbow, and place it anywhere on our map. Change to our Select tool. In the Scene window, make sure our crossbow is in the same prefab as our actor, Ader. Now let's press on the Attributes window and press on the icon for Browse for Parent, type Ader, and choose our Ader sequence. From here, we can choose the bone that will act as the parent for our crossbow. This time, click on the Browse for Parent element icon. I'm going to designate the weapon to his back, so Spine 2 should do the trick as our base. Change coordinates to parent. Uncheck Absolute and revert our position, rotation, and scale. Zoom in on Ader. And all that's left for us to do is to readjust the crossbow until it looks about right. Press Escape when you're done. Zoom out to get a better view of the whole scene. Press Stop in the Sequence Editor, and now press Play to check up on our scene one more time. As we can see, the crossbow is attached to Ader's back. In the Sequence Editor, we can also animate objects. Open our Prefab Browser and write Arrow FPP. Choose one and place it on our map. Get the Select tool, zoom in, then go to Attributes and rename it to Arrow Sequence. Under Mesh, change its mesh skin to Explosive. Now we need to add our arrow to the Sequence Editor. Right-click on the empty space on the left. Create a new track and choose Entity. Select the Entity track, click the 3 dots, and find arrow sequence. Move our gray cursor to the beginning of the timeline, activate Animate Mode, and adjust this arrow to how it will look after hitting the ground. Let's move the arrow keyframes to the end of our sequence. And in the viewport, change the arrow's starting point. Let's move it off to the side like so. Deactivate Animate Mode and preview our sequence. We can see our arrow moving, but the movement is rather slow. Although the arrow flies in at a right angle, the animation slows down at the beginning and the end. This could occur since the keyframes are automatically set to smooth. If we select those keyframes, we'll be able to change them to linear in Method field. That way, we'll avoid animations that are too smooth. Let's select the position and rotation keyframes. Set In Method and Out Method to linear. This should get rid of the smooth motion at the beginning and end stages of our arrow animation. Click Stop and then Play. The movement appears to be linear, but it's still rather slow. Click the stop icon. Changing the distance between the keyframes will determine how quickly the arrow moves. The wider the gap, the slower the animation. We can move our keyframes to the right and play our sequence to examine that. Let's press Stop. If we shrink the keyframe gap, the movement will become much faster. So let's bring in the keyframes on the right closer and click Play. It's certainly faster than before, but it's still not realistic enough. We'll move our keyframe groups and move them near the middle of our cutscene. I want the arrow to start moving after 2 seconds. Reduce the gap even more. Let's check how it looks now. I think we can make the movement even quicker. Narrow the gap. And check. Alright, that should be good enough. So now we know how to add actors, parent objects, as well as animate them. Now let's see how to create cameras. First, we need to set up a shortcut that will help us speed up the whole process. Click Tools, Shortcuts, and write Camera. Select Create Camera Keys and assign your own custom keyboard shortcuts that will enable this function. Personally, I'm going to go with Ctrl-Shift-K. After setting the shortcut, click OK. Move the camera in the viewport to your starting position. I'll want to start on Aider, so I'm going to stop the sequence editor, press play and pause, so that it can capture him when he's already moving. Adjust our camera's position, although I already know the field of view is too big. To change that, click View and choose Params. Under FOV, we will change the vertical value from 51 to something like 30, so it can look more cinematic. After choosing our starting position for our camera, right-click on our empty space on the left to create a new track. Then press Camera, so we have our keyframes for the camera's starting point. Preview our sequence to see how it'll turn out. Press pause after a while to establish its last position, so the end keyframe. Zoom out and capture Aider in his new position, and make that our end keyframe for the camera. This is where my Ctrl-Shift-K shortcut will come into play. Select our camera and use your keyboard shortcut to create new keyframes. Now select our new keyframes and move them to the end of our sequence. If you want, select just the position and look at keyframes to change them to linear. It's time to preview our camera capture. Click on his head icon, then stop and press play. As we can see, our camera follows Aider, so everything works as intended. Maybe I can change the end keyframes because our camera cuts off his head near the end. We can go ahead and remove these keyframes. Deselect the head icon for camera track, pull the camera back, and hold down your shortcut on the keyboard to create new keyframes. we can change position and look at to linear and adjust all the end position keyframes closer to the red line. Press the human icon, stop, play, and that's better. Now we can create a second camera for our other actors. Press play and then pause, so our cursor isn't set at the start. Let's uncheck the head icon for camera track 1, rotate it back to find our peacekeepers. Let's create a new camera just for them, just as we did before. Select camera 2, move our current position further down in the timeline. Find the position you like. Select camera 2. Use your keyboard shortcut to create new keyframes. Set the position and look at keyframes to linear. Move the keyframes to the end. Press the human head next to camera 2, then stop and play. Now we're going to have to define how our game will look in the game. For that, we'll need our scene track. This is where we're going to switch back and forth between our two cameras. Right-click on the timeline of the camera selection and choose Camera 1. Move it to the left. Then choose a different moment, right-click, and by pressing Add Camera Selection, we can switch over to Camera 2. In this instance, Camera 1 will change to Camera 2 at the 4-second mark. Click on the human head next to Scene Track and finally hit play. And that's how you can create sequences. In the next video, we'll show you how to create dialogues and set up triggers for NPCs. Thanks for watching.